Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 505 for Wednesday, June 21st, 2023. My name is Russell Frost, and I have the good luck to be your host for this week's adventure into advanced tech mobility and sustainable energy, and look for that to change very soon. Teaser. Let me introduce this amazing panel. We've got a ton of news, and we will get this show on the road. My co-host and co-Californian, Georgia McKenzie.
Is that a thing? Co-Californian?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got a pretty full plate, so let's keep rolling with those introductions. Go on ahead, Russell.
Thank you very much. He is now, am I allowed to say it, Casey?
Yeah, absolutely.
He is now officially Mr. Supercharger.com, for which I get no percentage of. I'm just going to complain a little bit that one time. Mr. Casey Green.
Hello. Big show. Let's go.
Very good. Very good. My friend in the upper left corner of America, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello. Well, if she's your Californian friend, then I'm your neighbor to the north. And even though we have a Canadian here, I'm more north than him. So
you are the great
I'm in the upstairs apartment.
Keep the noise down.
Yeah, we should switch screens.
There
we go.
There we go. Keep the noise down.
Be quiet down there, mister.
Damn it, you kids. I'm tired of you.
Man.
Brady Bunch bullshit actually kind of works.
For those of you listening through podcasts, you had to be there. Go watch it on YouTube.
We apologize for this visual bit. I don't have to apologize for this next panelist. He is the owner of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey. And a little bit of useless trivia for everybody. 50% of Canadians live south of Portland, Oregon. Look it up.
I'm actually a little shocked that it's only 50%.
I mean, frankly, it's cold. Why not live south?
Well, there's that too. And last and certainly not least, the real Canadian in real Canada and the host of the Tesla Life, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. And yes, I'm part of that 50% below Portland, and I'm happy to be below Portland too. But I wanted to wish everyone a happy first day of summer, which was today. So with that, Russell, let's roll.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, and it is starting to get warm, as Georgia and I were, although we have a week of sort of respite from that. So let's start with Mr. Patrick Connor. Has something about General Motors making some really good financial investment decisions. Patrick, give us the good news about GM.
Right. So Russell's rants are, a milestone of this show. Well, this one's I don't know. It's going to be. I can't do rant. What's a nice synonym for Pat's
ravings?
Rants?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Lunatic shouting? No.
Patrick is pissed off.
Oh yeah.
That's really grinds my
There we go. Okay, right. Yes. So GM has made an announcement, and it's that they're going to be investing $500 million into some new development, right? And since we all know the future's electric, that's what it is, right? No. GM has announced that they are going to be investing $500 million into their Arlington, Texas assembly plant to get it ready to build the next generation of internal combustion engines for their full-size SUVs. So here's their quote. Today, we're announcing plans for significant investment in Arlington to strengthen our industry-leading full-size SUV business, said some GM executive vice president of ignoring the future, living in denial.
That's actually the official title on the card, too.
Yes, so the Chevy Tahoe, the Suburban, the Yukon, the Cadillac Escalade are all going to be using this new full-size SUV internal combustion engine that they're working on. And these models start at $56,000 and they go up to $151,000 for the high-performance Escalade V or 5, or I don't know what it is. So this is an addition. This is in addition to the $854 million that they've already invested in their V8 engine production for their large SUVs and pickups that they announced in January. So ironically, they made this announcement on the same day that they announced they were going to be adopting the North American charging standard charge port for their future EVs. Now that sounds
Look
like
over here, not over here.
investing money in. There you go. End of rant.
So maybe they're looking for a write-off of $500 million for next year.
Or
and
maybe
also-
they're hedging their bets because they can't find batteries.
Right. So I mean, they make
is the
these
new
vehicles
Escalade
today.
and plug-in on the same platform, or is it just engines?
I don't know which platforms. I think this is just motors. No.
Right. I mean, this was specifically they said for internal combustions for large SUVs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I got to believe that the new battery vehicles with the ultimate battery packs would have to be built from the ground up. They couldn't use the same chassis as the SUV because in their pickup they had to rebuild the pickup, so they're not using the same as the gas pickups. So I got to believe it's the same way.
Let's say what most shows like this, or most people who come from the position that we come from, won't say, which is Jim's probably going to make an ass load of money on this investment. Okay, big ass, huge, heavy, high horsepower SUVs sell like hotcakes. So, I won't speak for anyone else. While I personally deplore this decision and think it's stupid and backwards and not where they should be going, hey, guess what? They're probably going to be rewarded for this shitty decision by lots and lots of cash coming into their coffers.
well, they already have these vehicles today. They have internal combustion engines that run these today. Do they really need to invest another $500 million to figure out how to do it a little bit better? I mean, it just seems like a stupid thing to be investing in. I understand riding that long tail out and milking it when they sell like hotcakes. Why wouldn't you keep selling them? But that doesn't mean you should be investing in
Probably more to it. It's like if they build the factory in Texas, they're going to get some kind of tax credits.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we don't see the whole story right now.
Well, I'm going to say something that probably sounds terrible, but it's true. Ain't
I love it.
everybody like us. Ain't everybody running out here to go buy an EV. There is a solid customer base for improved internal combustion engine cars, and that's going to stay with us for at least another 2 to 3 generations. So whether or not we like it, it's an investment that will probably pay off for the future of GM. And that's
Generations of people
And
or
those
vehicles?
big ass full size SUVs are highly profitable for them.
yeah, they're
Right.
very profitable. And here's the other thing that some people could take some umbrage at. It's also probably in our best interests for them to invest in improving the quality of their ICE SUVs, because we don't need warm seats. We do need an improved fuel efficiency. That would be great. Improved vehicle safety, also great. So yes, I kind of think it's a dumb idea because we are trying to move towards a sustainable future, and that honestly is not going to be internal combustion engines after a while. And we want to get to that quicker because it's better for us overall as a species and as the dominant species on this planet with nowhere the hell else to go, because we ain't going anywhere on this planet that's not on dry land. Let's throw that one out there. But we have to face the facts that improvements in ICE engines are also of benefit to that if they're on a certain pathway.
They didn't say this is to make it more fuel efficient, or if there's just, I don't know. I see it as waste. Go ahead, Russell.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'll tell you. Here's my talking out of my butt theory. There's 2 words that explains this: Durango Hellcat.
What is that?
Okay, and if you don't think that there aren't people standing in line to buy these limited edition 700 horsepower supercharged enormomobiles. There are. And what does GM have to compete with that? Right now, they've got the big chassis, they've got a big motor, but they don't have 700 horsepower and dual glass pack exhaust and all the other things that apparently get these people excited as buyers to spend $150,000 so they can go to Trader Joe's at 115 miles an hour
with 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah,
don't mock my hobbies like that.
I mean, I could go for 1,000 horsepower too, but
well, you know, but the thing is,
like
that you don't look as cool and you don't make a big noise and be stinky.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Keep in mind, GM is producing EVs as well. Not a lot of them, and it's taking them time to ramp up to it. So they're not going to be selling a heavy volume of EVs. They still got to remain in business in order to invest in EVs and invest in the ramp up. They're going to have to make money in order to do that. If they completely give up on their high volume, high profit vehicles, it's going to be harder to spend that money on EVs and ramp up. And
right. I wasn't
now,
saying they should stop making internal combustion altogether. I'm just saying they don't need to invest in new plants for them or new technologies for them. They can just, the stuff that they have right now, why can't they just continue to make that? And investments money should be going into their EV stuff. And then
they have to compete with Dodge and Ford. And if Dodge and Ford are improving, who's going to buy the legacy GM Suburban that has old technology when the Dodge and the Ford have X and they don't?
So I want to say a couple things here. There's only one automaker right now that is actually putting their money where their mouth is and discontinuing all development of combustion vehicles. And they like us to think they're Swedish, but they're not. They're Chinese. Also, that's Volvo for those of you that didn't catch what I was putting down. In the same vein as what Georgia was saying, these will be the last gas cars ever. And they'll be around with us for about 30, 40, 50 years or however long people are maintaining them and can find fuel to burn in them. So hopefully they're on the more efficiency, better to run, cheaper to maintain, et cetera side. But at least a few of them will be like what Russell said, just noisy monsters.
GM could be a lot farther ahead in this if they, they had the Volt and then they stopped making it. And now they have the Bolt and they are stopping that production as well.
If they would upgrade instead of just
exactly
all the time.
Yeah, if they would just continue to iterate and make it a little better every year or every other year instead of just we're done with that. What? Yeah, why? Why?
Well, because they bought all of their components from LG and the contract is up. And that's what's going to happen is they have to renegotiate and they're going, why don't we use our Ultium batteries anyways? We're going to replace it with the Equinox. We're just going to push that up a little further because there's no point in signing another long-term contract with antiquated technology.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Whereas if they were thinking long-term, in the beginning, they wouldn't have just signed this limited contract. They would have had clauses in there to allow them to iterate it and improve it and make better versions of it and keep selling those.
Thing's not going anywhere. Who could possibly think this little Honda Fit-sized SUV with a 50 kilowatt charge rate is actually going to be popular?
Right. These weren't compliance cars, but they're not a whole lot better when you have this limited life.
Right. Well, they're weighing a number of things. Unfortunately, they are weighing a number of things at the same time. And yeah, I don't agree with the decisions they're making, but I can see some of the logic behind it. And it's not as cut and dry or as black and white. There's a number of different shades of gray here.
I'm just
JC
worried.
brings up a good point in the chat. He says that
cool.
GM admitted they won't make a profit on EVs till 2030. There's a caveat on that, though. Is Mary said that on EVs under $40,000. So again, this Escalade they'll make some money on, but
and if you keep doing them in low volume, then of course they're never going to be profitable. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of we can't make money at this, so we won't do much, so we are not going to make them profitably because we're not doing much.
But isn't the key point in JT's post that they're based on nickel metal hydride?
Yeah.
NMC is
nickel manganese.
Nickel.
cobalt.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the traditional lithium-ion batteries, or NMC. And now there's the LFP as well.
Which are cheaper, safer, and heavier, but it allows you to make more cars.
I think we've had a good discussion. Let's move on. I think we all agree we would probably love to see them charge more towards electric vehicles, but we can also acknowledge that whether we like it or not, lots of people out there standing in line to buy big ass trucks.
Yeah, the way that I phrased it in the when I sent the article to our group here was the GM is gold plating their path to their graveyard.
And maybe they are, I hope Stellantis is just right in front of them. Let's see. Speaking of those stupid Durango Hellcats, Casey's got an update. This week's NACS update. Casey, who's the newest member?
So this week in NACS, we had Stellantis, Mercedes, and Hyundai all say they are considering switching to the NACS. But that's not a nice enough update because, we're talking about it sometime in the future, maybe. How about this? ChargePoint and Rivian have decided to join the NACS coalition. And they are getting started. Well, ChargePoint's getting started right away, and Rivian is getting started just with all the other automakers. Next year, you get adapters, and then in 2025 or 2025 model year, it's not exactly clear from any of them, then the ports will show up native on the truck. And hopefully, in Rivian's case, they'll also change sides of the vehicle, either straight to the back or to the passenger side, because theirs is in the wrong place right now. And this is exciting.
More NACS, and
more
I
NACS.
bet you, and I bet there'll be more next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
I got into an argument with a guy this morning. He's on this whole revisionist history thing, like, Tesla's just doing it to be special flowers and because they're ornery and obstinate. And then I had to remind him, I said, no, J1772 didn't exist when the Roadster hit the market. And you couldn't use J1772 to do a road trip at any decent speed when the Model S hit the market in 2012. And he's like, the same year the CCS hit the market. Yeah, but they're not going to go back and change their ports for an inferior, more expensive port. Like the CCS back then was 50 kilowatts. And it cost more, and they were at 90 when they started, and they were at 120 by the time CCS hit the ground. And he's like, Europe, they could have done CCS too because it was out before the Model 3 came out. I'm like, yeah, but
they did.
We were supercharging in 2013 on Type 2, so that started at 135 kilowatts. So again, you couldn't use CCS there because CCS 2 didn't exist yet. And then when they had the chance, they were being cheap because it does cost less to do NACS than to do CCS of any flavor. I'm sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
Last week, Russell, even you admitted that it's a better solution as far as usability and charging speed and so many other aspects, uptime, it being the most important one. So if even Russell's admitting that, yes, this is the right way to go and we should have one standard and it should be NACS, I think everyone's going to give in eventually.
Now I'm that goalpost that you just we even convinced Russell. We must be doing something wrong.
Exactly. Yes. You're the harbinger. Yes.
I'm frankly shocked that it's happening this early. I would have figured this would have been a couple of years out yet.
Yeah, it seemed that way. Also, Rivian says that they're going to continue to roll out their adventure network. And when pushed further later on in the day after their announcement, they officially said that they will be opening up the adventure network to other NACS-equipped vehicles at a future date, future time, after they figure out some logistics.
Very cool.
I mean, that's cool, but the real news again is just that, and certainly good news for Tesla. Opening up that network may turn into a revenue stream. It will be very interesting to see once the network is truly open, once people are actually going there with their Lightnings or whatever it is to charge, how that all plays out. That is going to be fascinating.
I wonder if we'll see Tesla spin off the charging network as a separate entity.
They could move it to Tesla Energy. I don't know if they need to spin it out entirely.
But then if they do spin it out entirely and just call it, NACS network or something, and make it that way, it's not as associated with Tesla.
You can do that.
I guess the only other thing I have to wonder if in boardrooms around the world, places like, for instance, Toyota, they go, we were always poo-pooed the idea of building any kind of charging network because we don't build gas stations. Har, 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 har. I have to wonder if looking at the potential of what this could be as like the backbone of a national electric vehicle charging network, and the potential for that is huge.
Yeah.
I have to wonder if they're not rethinking that and going, har, 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 wait. We just
got to be. They're like, you don't want to be the last one on this train. Like we mentioned on another show, on Tesla Live show, that how does Hyundai feel in this? Because Hyundai in their home market right now is CCS1 as well. If they switch, that means they force their own country to move as well. Because do you want South Korea and Taiwan and Japan to be the only place that are still using CCS1?
It could happen.
Yeah, and it is very smart for these competing networks to be switching immediately rather than waiting for the cars to show up. ChargePoint said we want to be there before the cars get here. And then on the other hand, of not just being there before the cars show up, you can also get some of that Tesla business right now, because depending on your market, you might be priced cheaper than superchargers and then get a lot of that revenue if they can just plug in and not have to buy an adapter first.
We'll see how it plays out. And until then, we're going to think about the first net zero community in Canada. Oh, wait, Ontario, Canada, because it may not be all of Canada. Mr. Coughlin, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I had the privilege of visiting this location in London, Ontario, which is about an hour down the 401 from me, about halfway between Toronto and Detroit is where it's situated on the 401. And this community has been up and running now for about 8 years. They have a 70-acre site that they decided that they were going to build a completely net zero community. So it's not carbon free, but what they're doing is they're saying we're going to produce as much energy as these houses, these apartments, these condos, these businesses are going to use. So they're putting enough solar generation on these sites in order to do that. They're also equipping all of these buildings with heat pumps. So instead of the traditional natural gas, which is very prevalent here in Southern Ontario, they've hooked them all with heat pumps. So they're using electricity to heat and cool the residences and businesses. This takes, of course, a lot of solar. And what they've done is they've decided to cover car parks and larger parking lots with solar, as well as the buildings that they have in place. They have everything from a one-story residence to 2 and 3 stories. Then they have 6-story buildings up to 14-story buildings. And what they've decided to do on the larger buildings is not only do they cover the car park in solar, but they're placing solar on the sides of the buildings that face the sun.
Oh,
so
wow.
They're using it as like just regular solar panels plugged on the side, so that it's siding exactly, and they blend in the look of the building to match it, so it looks like a black building. Doesn't look like there's solar panels; it just looks black. But I've got a few photos that I will share here now. Let me just click on. First of all, this is the community map. This shows the 70 acres that they have. And you'll see there's this green, 2 green buildings, and then this purple building and this other purple building. These are all 12, 14-story buildings. They're already complete and done. About 25%, a little bit over 25% is complete. Then this bank of townhomes, they're all 1, 2, and 3-story townhomes. They're all done. And over here, another bank of these townhomes are complete. We've got a park in the middle, and then we've got the business section where it'll be anchored by a grocery store and a number of other businesses. This is not done yet. And then these high rises over here are not done. And then over in this corner, this future residential, I've got another slide to show you about those. And those are just a little bit different. But this community is run by West 5. You can spot them on the internet going to www.west5.ca if you'd like to see some of the stuff yourself. But what is interesting is that you can get into some of the other Let's see if we can share another photo here.
This is going to be walkable.
Yeah, it's all walkable. Yeah.
Right.
Here we go. So this is a shot of a 3-story and 2-story residences.
Oh.
And you can see they maximize the roof with complete solar. They also put it at that 20% angle that's best for solar, so they can collect as much of it as possible.
That's for solar at their latitude.
Yep, for the latitude that they're at, which of course is below Portland. No.
Isn't everybody?
And we've got a shot of the exterior here in a number of these pictures. But
Very cool.
What is very nice is that, and can I just switch over to this? Yes, I can. So here's some more shots of the neighborhood.
Wow.
Here's the car park
No,
of one of these larger
it didn't go on
buildings.
our screen.
It's not updating for me.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can go back to this, stop sharing here, and share it again.
But I bet you, Mark, there's enough people that are willing to pay a premium to live in a community like that. They'll probably have no trouble selling those units.
Exactly. Are you
They
seeing
better have
anything now?
Yeah.
Yes.
There we
They
go.
better have EV charging in the garage.
All of them are
Right.
built with EV charging already there because they want the community to be net zero. So they want your transportation to be net zero as well. It's also on a major bus route that's just being mapped out now into the main core of London. But right now, the buses are being routed through the community. They're not quite set right now, but they have an agreement with London Transit that they're going to have that.
He means London, Ontario.
London, Ontario. Exactly.
Just making
Exactly.
sure people no, not in England.
Don't expect to find Harry Potter here.
Here's a shot of some of that
Bloody hell.
exterior solar as cladding on the outside of the building.
Oh,
Brilliant.
Cool.
They're even
how
using
many
it
feet?
up to encase some of the mechanical equipment like the elevators and such. It encases it just to make it look nice.
That's actually brilliant at a few levels. It may not be the most efficient way to deploy PV panels, but just the ubiquity of them, using that as sort of a branding is
Look at how
really
they
interesting.
incorporate it into the design of the building.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Now this is all West 5. They're also West 5 is owned by a company called Sifton, and Sifton, what they do is they lease or rent everything. So you've got all these different types of homes, right from small 1-bedroom apartments all the way up to condos where you can rent and live in the Sifton community. But they're also experimenting with a new thing, which is called Eve Park. And what Eve Park is it's the ability to sell a condo to somebody and still, so you get to buy a piece of land, you get to buy the condo, and you get the benefits of owning it instead of just renting it, which is all these other buildings are. So I can share this, and this is really cool. This will be the showstopper here.
Uh-oh.
We can
It gets better.
It gets better.
There's a jacuzzi in the living room.
Possible for it to get better.
The other beauty of using
These
solar
are-
buildings, that's
These
really
are
strong sides.
round-shaped buildings, like a Pac-Man.
Cool.
Nice.
They're tiered 1, 2, and 3 stories. And then on the end of the fat end, you'll see that there's this little weird-looking green thing here building, and you'll see there's 2 spots at the bottom that would fit a car. This is basically a car Pez dispenser. You drive at the bottom, it gets on a carriage, and it goes into a Ferris wheel loop around on the inside of this green building. So they found in their studies that community really breaks down because of people that live in a community have their garage door opener. When they arrive home, the garage door opener opens up, the car drives in, the door shuts, and nobody sees or interacts with anybody in their community. They decided that they're going to put the parking in a spot that maximizes space and Once you walk out of this car park area, you walk into the middle of this green space where the front doors of all the condos are. And
Nice.
you walk around a path to go into your particular condo.
Awesome.
So that you can have the interaction with neighbors on their front porch. You can say hello to people. It's not a far walk, and everyone has access back to the car garage.
Now that is what I call freaking planning.
Yeah, and it says here Building A is already sold out, so obviously there's a demand for that kind of lifestyle.
Exactly. So this coming September, I'm going to go back to see Building A completed. I was there and it's still under construction, but I'll be able to get some videos and actually see the Pez dispenser in action, which I'm excited to see.
Oh, you have got to take a tour. You need to take an apartment tour.
Exactly.
One of the ones that's got the charging built into the tray, right?
Correct. The charging is built into the car tray, so you can just plug it in. Also, now these are expensive condos. Like, this is not cheap living, okay?
Sure.
But what they're also doing is they're building into the condo fee your solar. All these roofs are filled with solar. Right. So it's coming off your utility bill. And the condo takes care of the solar replenishment from the Hydro London and it going back into your bill. Plus, the condo, of course, is also going to charge you for the power you use, and they subtract it from how much the place is generating. So you get a lower utility bill for electric. You have no gas bill at all because they're all heated by heat pumps, which is electrically driven. And there's enough solar on site that it will actually pay for the entire, the entire living portion of that.
Awesome.
So I could go on forever. There's a ton more information. We've put the links in the notes. You can go explore these websites yourself, but it is a dramatic change from normal living. And it's not that much of a stretch. I can see that we could actually get these places to come down in price with mass adoption. And that would, of course, would be better for all segments. But it's a start, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing here.
And no doubt there's going to be like neighborhood restaurants and dentists and stuff within walking distance.
In those apartment buildings that are already built, those businesses are already set up. There's an animal hospital, there's dentists, there's doctors' offices, there's offices for rent for regular businesses. It's all there.
Yeah, I was going to actually bring that up when we cut to talking about it, because a sustainable, livable community is not just about solar. It is exactly the things that Mark talked about. It is having available public transportation that works for everybody, that runs regularly. It is the fact that they are definitely going to be a wonderful community for a retiree because they don't have to travel too far to go to medical places because there's medical offices in their business district. They also have things like, let me scroll down to it. Hey, guess what? Bee colony. Living walls to help with air purification and ambient temperature. Community gardens, composting. So it's not just about solar.
Car sharing as well.
Car sharing. This is a very consciously designed project that you don't see to this level of detail. And I have sat through enough planning commission meetings to tell you that I've witnessed people get gold standard and platinum standard for their lead for their lead buildings, and they don't go into this much detail. This is a thought out, well done project, and I'm impressed. I am absolutely impressed. This is the future of cities right here. This is perfect. And yes, bringing the cost down would be great, but it's not, the fact of the matter is, yeah, this is a more expensive condo that you're buying. But this is like that good old-fashioned European-style socialism where we have some Americans who are often put off by the fact that, oh my God, you pay 40% or 45% in taxes. And it's like, yes. And you also, if you have a car accident, they take you to the hospital and you get rushed right in without worry about what's your insurance because you're covered. It's not that there's no homelessness in places like England, but when you have a well-funded security net, yeah, even if you're dead broke, you at least have a council housing that you can go to. And that's not to the benefit of just the people who are there. That is to the benefit of even the people who absolutely don't need it. Safe housing, safe streets, well-planned communities, accessible transportation. The amount of stuff where I've seen people not wanting public transportation that comes to their nice, shishy little neighborhoods, even though the people they need to work in their stores, to cut their hedges, to help with their kids, to teach their kids, need public transportation to get from their affordable areas to these more expensive areas. The disconnect is huge. So this is like incredible, amazing, wonderful. Could not praise it enough. Fantastic work.
And
Thanks,
I will point out to those that are checking out the website, the prices are in Canadian. So it's 30% basically off to get an American price. They
I'll just
are
sell
expensive.
my house in California.
They are
You get a
expensive.
30% discount. Yeah.
I'll have more than enough money
Buy
now.
now and get a 30% discount. Exactly.
But the housing market there is already expensive.
It's very
Yes.
yeah.
And-
Ontario's very hot.
And yeah, and I'm here to tell you, a 2-bedroom, 2.5 baths for $967K in San Diego County, not even crazy.
Nope.
Not
But
even
that's
crazy.
735 US, Russell. So it's even
Right,
even
absolutely.
less crazy.
Oh yeah, and I mean, look,
Got to start somewhere.
some people can live out wherever, and this is a great place to live if you want to live someplace where you have your conveniences pretty close, and you want to live a little bit more lightly with the benefits of what living in a city is about, because that's why we have towns and cities and whatnot, because we can't do everything ourselves.
And if you're a 2-car household or a 3-car household, maybe you can be a 1-car household because of the amenities and the car sharing and all that. And, with the average car costing 50 grand, that's a savings there, not having to buy that second car.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's move on to the next story. And I got to tell you, I'm not going to, this isn't self-fulfilling prophecy, but I have a feeling this is going to be quite the argument. Georgia, what's bursting into flames in New York?
Unlike the usual, a rat or two.
Oh, yeah. Self-immolating rats all the time.
or an exploding pipe from from the 18th century somewhere deep below us. Oh, it's an e-bike shop. Hi. Hey guys. How are you storing these e-bikes, baby? It's yet another lithium ion battery fire, and it is the 108th battery fire this year. This is great that we have.
Plug into extension cord.
No, they're stored. They're just being stored.
Hmm.
It's
Or cheap quality batteries that just implode when you try to charge them.
Bingo.
Or an
Just if you store them
irresponsible.
at 100% and 0%. Well, I guess 0 is not that dangerous, but 100%.
Yeah, it's basically.
I'm going to put it up on the screen here.
Yeah, put it up there and so you can see it. I mean, it's not. We're not talking a little fire. This is something that actually took out the storefront and harmed people. They're in the hospital, the residents.
4 dead, I think it was the thing here with this particular one.
Yeah,
As I read the story.
That caption when you scroll underneath the picture there, Russell.
What's that?
That caption when you scroll underneath the picture there.
The store at 80 Madison Street was fined $1,600 in 2022 for improper storage of lithium-ion batteries, but remained open and operational. So, yeah.
I mean, is this a problem of regulation? Yeah. Is this a problem of there are people in marginal businesses that are always going to do, the things the bad way to make money, to stay in business, to do whatever? I mean,
yeah, but that's the truth. That is, boy, that's people in a nutshell. And I won't bring up what's been eating up the oxygen of news these past couple of days. But doing things on the cheap with the idea that it's okay, we can cut some corners, we don't have to listen to expertise, that doesn't work out for us really as much as people think. Just because we're like 100 people and somebody's just kind of, swinging a sword around and walking around where 100 people are. And once in a while somebody gets cut, but everybody's just like, but that person over there got cut. I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. I can be in this place with this person doing something unsafe. But the law of averages means that something is going to happen and somebody's going to get hurt when you are doing something that is dangerous. And I don't know, Russell, do you want to share and maybe play the video that's in the middle of the page that was put out by FDNY?
Yeah, their bullet points are pretty strong and tells you a lot about why that shop might have gone up.
Yeah. So, and it's not just four dead in the fire. That was today. It's 13 total fatalities this year. So, and it's growing up each time.
There it is. I don't know that I'll be able to get audio though.
We'll see.
It's probably for the best. It's got music in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I just want to go back to this, and I think somebody in the chat, and forgive me, it might have been Bruce. I'm not looking at it right now, but hey, guess what? Lithium-ion batteries can be dangerous and are difficult to deal with, just like buckets of gasoline are.
Yep.
We have to maybe try and get ahead of these issues and instead of waiting for people to die and shops to explode and cars to spontaneously combust, and be vigilant, because
there's going to be a problem with that though, because everybody likes to cut corners.
Everybody does.
Yeah. And like you said, it's I can get this on Alibaba cheap. I don't have to spend the full price for the battery system. Who needs a battery management system anyways? This one comes in from China. It's good. It's the same
right.
wattage or whatever. There's a lot of different people that are going to be buying these things, and their motive for buying is all over the board. But a lot of them aren't thinking about safety.
Yeah, I mean, they quoted Dan Flynn, the FDNY chief fire marshal, about why the store that was already had multiple violations just hadn't been shut down in general. And he said there's a process in place. And it's like, good God, man, we need to stop having processes that are just being put in place. They're taking year upon year upon year. And we need to actually start having action. I don't know what else there is to say, except if you're in New York and if you're concerned about this, and especially if you filed complaints, because the residents who lived above that store had filed complaints. There were complaints and failing fire inspections twice before. You know what you need to do? Make sure that if you live above an e-bike store, if you have an e-bike, check for that underwriter's laboratory mark first and foremost. It is there for a reason. It's not just there for beautification. And secondly, no extension cords. Thirdly,
well, and don't leave chargers unattended.
And don't leave chargers unattended.
Don't block the exits.
Yeah, I'm kind of neurotic about my chargers in general, like they just for my phone. But one thing you also kind of need to do is you actually do need to contact your mayor's office, and let them know you want this to happen, that this should be happening, because we're only going to get more EVs. We're not going to get less. We're only going to get more e-bikes. We're only going to get more people finding something off Alibaba that passes, because especially with we still use a lot of messengers in New York, and an e-bike means the difference between $300-400 because you're riding a bicycle, and $1,000 a week in deliveries because you're riding an e-bike. So yeah, it's rough out there because you don't know. And we're kind of in that wild west territory where, yes, there's regulations, but getting them enforced is always hard. So don't know what to tell anybody, but put some pressure on City Hall to get this passed, because How many more people do you need to die? It could be done.
I mean, this is a uniquely urban problem. This specific thing with like the e-bike shop below the apartment building blows up. Probably not going to happen a lot in suburbia or lots of, sprawl America, which is not me pushing for sprawl America. Just saying that, if the e-bike shop where I live blows up, probably next door there's a Mexican food place and maybe a pizza place on the other side.
There's not people living on top of them.
Yeah. Again, none of that minimizes that. Hey, guess what? Lithium-ion batteries, they're you have to take it seriously. They store a lot of energy, just like gasoline does. And it's a bike, so it's like a kid thing. And we just go, it's a bike. You can get it anywhere, off of Alibaba, off of eBay, whatever. You go to Pep Boys and you buy an e-bike for, $199, and of course it's going to be great. Just plug it into the wall and leave your house and come back to a smoldering crater.
Well, there's also one other thing for those of you who actually do have an e-bike. You can get an e-bike battery safe explosion proof bag off Amazon. About 20 something bucks.
Right.
And if you are charging your e-bike, you can if you can take out the battery and charge it separately from the house, keep it, safety first. Can't stress this enough. It's too many people think everything's a toy. It's like the people, didn't somebody just recently get run over by a bison over in Yellowstone because they were getting close to get a selfie.
Mm-hmm.
They were acting like it was like a stuffed animal. Come on.
Yeah.
I know I say our problem is no natural predators to cull the herd, but for God's sake, please make me be wrong.
Yeah. No argument there. Well, thank you, George, for that. Anybody have any final words on exploding e-bikes?
Don't rent an apartment in New York City above an e-bike store.
Yeah, it reminds me of this place I used to live. They had like a outdoor mall area, and above the shops were condos. And this pizzeria burned down 3 times. After the 3rd time it burned down, they stopped renting the apartments above the pizzeria.
Which is horrible, because you should be able to live safely above a business.
Yeah.
Okay. Businesses are subject to safety regulations, and you should be able to live safely above them. But yeah, there's so many potentially negative trends to take away from this story, and hopefully we won't slip down that thing of, it's these damn e-bikes that are dangerous. No, it's assholes circumventing the law and safety regulations and just good business practices, good safety practices. Mark, you look like you had something to say.
Nope.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. I want to give Paul Gusick a chance to do his shout outs and say, because we're definitely going over tonight, Paul. And
I might cut out in a bit, but as always, want to tell everybody to like and subscribe that's here. And if you're in Colorado and you have an EV or a hybrid car that needs some work done, give us a call. Check us out at boulderhc.com.
Definitely do that. I bought my car from Paul, and I live in California. Well, is that I think that's a testimony. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Let's go to our next story. We're going to go to Casey Green, who has a story. No, wait. Excuse me. That was Patrick's story. Casey has a good story. Casey, what's going on with electric trucks?
So, Forum Mobility managed to get themselves a $4.5 million financing round from East Bay Community Energy to build themselves a EV charging depot that can charge 96 semi-trucks at once, which is great because they're aiming for drayage trucks, which are going to take containers to and from the ports. And you're going to need to have a way to fill them up in the middle of on their lunch breaks or something. And now you've got that. And this isn't their only facility, but they're starting with a 4.4 acre site off of I-580 and in Livermore, and they're going to be doing more after that. I thought it was a good idea, and 96 trucks at once. That's a great start.
That is a lot of electricity.
Yeah.
And of course, these are port trucks, so the distances are fairly small. Driving containers back and forth, hooking them up to others to pull out of the city further. And what an ideal use for electric trucks, because they will go a long time on those charges, because they'll, like Casey said, you can probably only have to charge it up at once at lunch, and it'll do the whole day, morning and afternoon shift, because the distances are so small and they have tremendous torque and can move these loads around. It's a perfect scenario.
Yeah, you can probably do your shift change at this if it's a round the clock port, which a lot of these large cities like California would be. So you do your shift change at the facility, and now that person comes in for lunch, and you just never have to worry about whether it's got charged or not.
Well, there you go.
Cool.
Yay.
Nice.
Very nice. You know what, Patrick, I appreciate your graciousness here, but I actually want to hear about this story. Do you mind?
Okay. No. I just if we were running short on time,
We are, but we're going to go over a little bit, and
Okay. So I'm glad Mark brought a nice, good story, because I am not in that mood today, apparently.
I'm sorry, we won't have time for my story, but we'll do it next week.
Okay, so this is from my own neighborhood here. This comes to us from Coin 6 News, and that's Coin with a K, and it's titled "Hillsboro Auto Shop Accused of Removing Emission Systems on Diesel Vehicles." So the federal government is going after a Hillsboro business, accusing them of modifying hundreds of diesel trucks to disable the pollution control systems. The U.S. Attorney's Office says that Pure Addiction Diesel Performance violated the Clean Air Act by removing and reprogramming emission systems on 245 diesel vehicles from 2018 to 2020. The prosecutors say that the company collected over $400,000 from this activity, and the federal documents say that this emission system tampering increases the carbon monoxide emission by 120 times and the hydrocarbon emissions by more than 1,000 times. So the last bit here is that this is the second case in this area. They went after one in Clark County, which is just north of Portland in Washington, for doing something similar recently. So I'm glad they're busted. We were just talking about how, anyway, this is ridiculous. There's no way they should be doing this. It's setting them up so they can roll coal and just pollute more. It's already a polluting vehicle. It doesn't need to be hundreds or thousands of times more polluting. That's ridiculous.
Yes,
I think they should get jail time as well as fees.
It's like they took a page out of the VW playbook for diesel.
Yeah.
Freedom, spelled D-U-M-B.
Yeah, putting a few in jail would send the message.
Yeah, it's a necessary message. Some people really just need jail time.
Well, and look at what was that? I don't remember what streaming network it was, if it was Discovery or somebody, but did that Diesel Brothers show, and those assholes ended up losing their business over the same kind of stuff. And
Yes, they did.
It's probably Discovery then.
Yeah, TLC, Discovery, History.
Oh, the learning. Remember when it was the Learning Channel and they would have some actual science and stuff? Wow, I'm old. I remember when it was useful. So
You don't like the haunted house stories, the ghost chasers, and the ancient alien history? Those don't count as learning
I
in
ain't
history.
drunk enough because I don't drink. That used to be my number one, like TLC and Discovery. I used to rotate between those so much, and I have not watched them in like years upon years because they are literally.
They would run things like Diesel Brothers on there. They're
like the fake hillbilly network because even the guys from the Duck Dynasty guys, that's all affectation, y'all. They're actually quite rich. They grew that stuff, and they have some pretty weird ephemophilic views on what the right age is to marry the right person.
Oh, you're so judgy, Georgia.
Yeah, you start talking about catching them when they're 14 to 16, and suddenly I don't think you're a good person. Call me crazy. But yeah, no, I miss science so much. But yeah, no, I heartily enjoyed the idea that your people are going to jail for what they do.
Yeah.
And I support anybody who decides to put them in jail for pulling this kind of nonsense, because I'm tired of these games, because this is all some weird, it's always some weird kind of conservative nonsense where it's like they just emissions don't matter, and they between wanting to go out into nature to prove that they're big alpha men and go hurt an animal that was just minding its own business, and then the other side of it is we should pollute everywhere because we won't be controlled and it's not real and it's all fake science anyway. The cognitive dissonance is amazing to watch, but what I want to watch some consequences from that cognitive dissonance. So yes, let's do this. Put them in jail. Yay.
Right. I hope they kept good records of every vehicle that they modified, and I would like to see those vehicles confiscated and crushed. That would be
I'd love
great.
to see them impounded. Now put the camera on that.
Yeah, I'll watch that TV show. I will. Georgia, real quick, I looked because I went to Amazon to look at these because I've never heard of these battery safe bag, explosion proof, large capacity fireproof bag for e-bike battery, $34.99.
I found one for $25. That was a good tip. So yeah, if you have an e-bike and you're charging it overnight in your house, having it in one of these fireproof bags is really a great idea.
It is, although I question the actual utility of the bag. I'm not saying look, some safety is better than none, but yeah, I'd be afraid to see. I don't know.
All I'm going to say is I have a gas heater, and I live on top of, technically, if something goes wrong, is a bomb.
Yeah.
Some safety is a lot better than none.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I will be changing that out for electrical between the gas heater and the gas range. George has used up all her ability to ignore the fact that modern society uses things that will destroy you if one little thing goes out and you have no idea what that little thing could be, because modern society is way beyond our individual capacity to handle. So yeah.
So Russell, you said you questioned the utility, and now you've got me wondering, like, okay, if I put it in that bag and it doesn't have air circulation, is that actually going to cause the fire that it protects me from?
That's too hot.
Oh no, I'm done.
Russell, if you cut it out.
I think it's a great idea. I just until I see
Russell,
again.
Behave yourself.
What?
You brought up a good point.
Until I see like an Underwriter Labs tag on it or something.
Yes.
Like, hey,
I think that's fair to ask for. No, but I think if you Google, you should probably be able to find somebody who's tested it, because we live in also a world where people with a lot of open space are more than willing to do dangerous things on their property for YouTube fame and fortune. So please, let's look that up. Maybe we can find a video.
Or whatever your local safety marks are, CEUL. Look for those.
But look it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and be careful, because I remember I was talking to one vendor from China about their chargers, and I said, are they UL approved or CSA approved, which is the Canadian? And they literally said, we'll stamp whatever you want on them.
Yep. They will.
Yeah,
they will.
I didn't
fake
give them
that
my
imprint.
business, but
When I was a kid, that was when they first launched the ability to check. They have a number on these things. You can, at the time, you could call, but now you can go online and check the number they've used, make sure it matches with the product you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
just want to keep everybody out there. We need every one of you. So I don't want things to randomly burn because you thought this. You just can't be too safe. Yep. You just can't be. Next up, Georgia has a story.
You want to do that one? Which one?
Did you new batteries? Did we just no?
Yeah, it's a new EV battery. Well,
thank you.
Yes. Okay. So I'll save that one, the main power story, because I think that's kind of important. But we'll save that for the next show.
You go to that. That's fine. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, guess what? We have some more science, some more happier science, because Patrick decided to bring us down. No.
Oh, that's not
I
fair.
did.
That's not true. He informed us, and we felt righteous. So, scientists have a new breakthrough that could help EVs drive 10 times as far without needing a before you need a recharge. So, hey, this sounds pretty good. Now, what is it? And it's our friend, the lithium-ion battery.
Our friend, our dangerous friend.
It's like having your own dragon. Okay.
9/11. Is there a dragon lurking under your stairs?
Oh, sorry. So this is from South Korea. They have developed a new material. Researchers at Pohang University of Science and Technology and Sogang University. So they've joined forces to create this new material, and it uses hydrogen bonding and Coulombic forces. Now, this is a summation for us normal people. It's best summed up as the attraction between negative and positive charges. So by combating the shortcomings of high-capacity anode materials, these combined forces allow the researchers to use silicon and other high-capacity materials that were too reliable previously for widespread use in EV batteries. So with silicon and other high-capacity materials, high-capacity anode materials, that means that it could have at least 10 times the capacity of the materials that we currently use in lithium-ion batteries, which is graphite. So they discovered that by removing cobalt and increasing the amount of lithium, the energy density substantially increases, and it retains most of its capacity after hundreds of charges, which, since one of the big issues is the expense of batteries, it's very important to know. Now, as we keep going, we've had $1 trillion in sales in 2022 and more than 750,000 EVs sold in the United States alone. So we're going to need a lot more. So we want to make it a lot greener. So these research tools mean that we increase the energy density of the lithium-ion batteries, we increase the high-capacity anode materials, we extend the driving range and the life of these batteries, which also would make these cars greener, because that's the other aspect of EVs that we don't talk about enough, making sure that all of it is green, not just the energy use. But I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and hopefully we'll hear more about how long is it going to take to get this new tech filtered down to our commercial batteries here, especially here in the US of A. Don't bogart everything there, South Korea. Share.
Very nice.
Yeah, this is great. These kind of lab breakthroughs do trickle into real products eventually, and using silicon anodes is something that a lot of people have been looking at. They tend to swell and shrink as they're charged and discharged, which causes other problems, which they're trying to find ways to work around. But if they can figure out how to work around that and not use cobalt at the same time, that's awesome.
Especially considering cobalt mining and the human rights violations and abuses. That would be nice. Get that out there.
Yeah, although there are plenty of, like, Canada has plenty of cobalt, and they're not using slave labor for it. So I mean, there are humane alternatives.
Yeah, there's one in the U.S. as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but yeah. So, but silicon's even easier to get. So why that just for affordability? If that also solves human rights problems, great. I'm for both of those.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Excellent. Well, Casey, I have to admit, Rivian has some new feature to the R1T. Tell me about it, Casey.
Yeah. Casey's all about the electric trucks today. So the Rivian R1T, it originally shipped with a power tonneau cover, at least on the launch editions. And then at some point, they weren't very well engineered. So Rivian said, we're going to go ahead and cancel that. But we're going to go ahead and make a manual one available later. And, well, the manual one is available now. And it's pretty unique. I like the way they did it. they took the slats that used to be on the power tonneau cover and put them together in these little bindles. Like they're like 3 slats in one. And then they have a nice carry bag that fits in the gear tunnel. And it looks the same as the power tunnel or the power cover when it's closed and deployed. And then you get a nice little bag, and then it fits in the gear tunnel in the carry case. Yeah,
Very cool.
Shipping now.
Nice.
Rivian's done a nice job.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, they'll stay in business long enough to grow a little bit.
Right. At least you don't have to avoid them because they have the wrong plug on their car.
Absolutely.
A few more
Okay.
Bezos bucks will keep him in business.
You can't take us nowhere.
Georgia. Now, so, do you want to talk about Maine now, or do you want to save that?
7:06. People have been here for a whole hour. I think we can talk about it more fully next week, because I'm pretty sure people will want to bring their thoughts on that one.
I will follow your wise lead, and we will do some shout outs. Paul, you already did yours. Thank you. So I'm going to skip you. Don't feel left out, and go to
Wow.
What?
Just dumping him. Man.
I'm so mean to the panel. Why am I so mean? I don't
That's
know.
right.
Okay, Casey Green. What's up, Mr. Supercharger? .com.
Yeah, so join up with us on Sunday at 1:10 Eastern at youtube.com at Casey Green. Or, well, I don't actually broadcast to my site, so yeah, YouTube, and we'll see you there at 1:10 Eastern, and we have a blast.
Thank you very much, JT. I had no idea oil refining uses cobalt.
Yeah,
It's
they do.
a lot of it.
Yeah, it's they use it to remove sulfur, and so it's part of the process. And actually, the way it binds to it, it makes it almost impossible to recycle, and they don't care where that comes from. So
Wow.
There's relative to the amount that are used in batteries, even at the scale we are now, I think the oil industry still uses more cobalt.
It's amazing what they clutch their pearls on about EVs using, and then you turn around and you look at the fossil fuel industries using many times
As
more,
much
like
or
electricity, cobalt.
Yeah, right.
Water.
Yeah.
Water.
The electricity one is kind of interesting too. A lot of people don't know that to refine that gas uses about the same amount of electricity as an EV does per mile you are using per mile in your gas car. Plus, you have tailpipe emissions. So so I mean, they can't throw those rocks too hard about, oh, you're just using coal plants, and oh, you're using cobalt. Guess what? So are you.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Coughlin in the blue room.
Yeah, I would like to ask you, if you haven't already, please give us that thumbs up on the YouTube video. Press subscribe if you haven't done it already.
Oh.
And if you'd like to follow us through the week, you can look up a social media network, any of them, and just look up what drives us. We're probably there. Click on it and follow us through the week and get updates throughout the week. Back to you, Russell.
Thank you. And bye, Paul. I'm sorry I missed you looking away. I was looking away. And he just,
Paul just left a dust trail. He
just appeared. Mr.
The alarm
Connor.
set and the door slam.
That's it. Yeah. Damn it.
I'm out.
Hello, everybody. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. Tesla's 20th anniversary is coming up in a couple weeks, and I have a story up there about it right now. Check it out. Thanks.
We have 20th anniversary special edition cars and T-shirts and short shorts and tequila. Nothing?
There you go. Yeah, we can. Yeah, they should have all that. Yeah. We can do a shot of tequila.
It's so funny. I never even, it's 20th anniversary and they're like literally snoozing it.
I haven't heard anything official from them about it.
They're just kind of busy right now.
Yeah, they're just saying, they're letting the Tesla life take it over.
There you go.
Mark, you're in charge of swag.
You're in charge of that, Mark. I'm sorry. Patrick, I didn't mean to interrupt. Are you all good?
I'm all done. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
My thanks to Patrick. He is the one who posts all of our news on our social media. So if you see us on Facebook or on Twitter, chances are it's Patrick. There's a good chance that it's Patrick trolling me. That's okay too, because I need to be trolled more.
That's how I get paid.
That's fair enough, right? Yeah, the money that Patrick makes trolling me versus the money I pay him. They both weigh the same. Nothing. Last and certainly not least, Georgia McKenzie. What would you like to say in conclusion?
Well, in conclusion, I would like to say thank y'all for hanging out with us for this long. We did a kind of a little extra long 70-minute show for you, but I think you're able to handle it. You're adults here. Once again, if you haven't hit like already, what are you doing? Go on ahead and do that. Every like you give us tells the algorithm this is a fun show. And the person who likes what you, with your fantastic taste like, would like to listen to this. So go on ahead and do it. And if you haven't already, subscribe. It's free, costs you nothing, and helps the channel out. And I would like to thank you for listening to us. When you're done, you can go on ahead, hang out with Mark Coughlin, the Tesla Life, because I'm pretty sure he's going to do something fantastic for the 20th anniversary, right? Some contest, free car, what? Something? No?
Keep guessing.
Mark's got to Mark plans to drink. And when you're done over there, you can join Mr. Supercharger himself, Casey Green, because he's now MrSupercharger.com, and hang out with him on a Sunday for his Sunday chats. So, Casey, is all this stuff still on the YouTube? Or are you going to be migrating it to the website? Or are you just going to
cross on YouTube? Because I've got domains galore.
Awesome. Yeah. When you want to catch up with Patrick, go on ahead to carswithcords.net, read his writings. It's about more than just cars. It's about a sustainable life, and he is a very smart guy. So hang out over there when you're done with us. Thank you all for joining us, and you can find us on socials. I'm on Spoutable, so Spoutable or Mastodon, and I am officially going to be on there because I can't take the dumpster fires for much longer.
Lunatic racist? Is that what you mean? You can't take that? I don't know why.
Oh Lord, yeah. It's a special place in hell. Back to you, Russell.
Thank you. I want to thank Michael Manring for his theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. I want to thank everybody in the chat room for coming. Bruce and JT and June was in there, I think, for a minute or two. Thanks so much. I want to thank everyone here on the panel. Patrick, Georgia, I have to look at their names because I can't remember who they are. Casey and Mark. Thanks to Paul Guzik, who has departed at a reasonable hour. The unreasonable ones are left. That's what you're left with.
Unforgettable.
Absolutely. So my thanks go out.
That's what you are.
My thanks go out to the panel, to everyone who's watching and or listening. Tune in next week and find out what drives us.
That's my dog. It's incredible.
Stay positive. That's negative.
So unforgettable.